SawStop Jobsite Saw Pro Review, the saw that actually pays off. I'll admit it, every time I've bought a cheap jobsite saw, I've regretted it within the first week. The fence wobbles, the fence isn't square, the motor bogs down on anything thicker than a 2x4, and the dust collection is basically a joke. Worst of all, I always end up second-guessing every cut because the setup just feels sloppy. So when I saw the SawStop Jobsite Saw Pro, I was skeptical. Not because of the price, because of the promises. Does it actually solve the problems that make cheap saws frustrating, or is it just another overhyped tool that looks good on paper? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The first thing that stands out is how compact it is when stowed. At 26.5 inches long, 29 inches wide, and 45 inches tall, it's not tiny, but it fits in the back of my truck without taking up the whole bed. That's huge if you're like me and move between job sites or have limited garage space. The cart itself is solid, no flimsy plastic parts, and the wheels roll smoothly over uneven ground. But the real test is how it performs once it's set up, and that's where this saw separates itself from the pack. The table depth is 24 5/8 inches, which might not sound like a big deal until you're trying to rip a full sheet of plywood or make a long rip cut without the sheet flopping around. Most jobsite saws have tables that feel cramped after a few uses, but this one gives you enough room to work without constantly adjusting your material. The fence is straight out of the box, which is rare for a saw at this price point. I didn't have to spend an hour squaring it up, and that alone saves you a ton of frustration. The one-turn elevation system is one of those features that sounds minor until you actually use it. On other saws, adjusting the blade height is a two-handed job. You've got to loosen a knob, wiggle the crank, and hope you don't overshoot. With this saw, you just turn the wheel once, and the blade moves smoothly to the exact height you need. It's not a flashy feature, but it's the kind of thing that makes repetitive cuts feel effortless. Now, the safety system is what everyone talks about with SawStop, and it's worth mentioning, but not for the reason you might think. The flesh detection brake is obviously a big deal if you're worried about kickback, but the real benefit is the peace of mind. You don't have to baby the saw or second-guess every cut. If you're working alone on a job site or in a garage where distractions happen, that's not just a feature, it's a game changer. The downside? The cart adds bulk, and if you're tight on space, it might feel like overkill. But if you're serious about accuracy and safety, the trade-off is worth it. Who should buy this saw? If you're a contractor who needs a reliable saw that you can set up quickly and trust to handle daily use, this is it. If you're a DIYer who's tired of fighting with a saw that's more hassle than it's worth, this will feel like a luxury upgrade. But if you're only doing occasional cuts or you're on a tight budget, this might be overkill. There are cheaper saws that will get the job done, but you'll spend more time tweaking and adjusting them. The only real downside I've found is the weight. The cart makes it easier to move, but the saw itself is heavy, around 200 pounds with the cart. If you're lugging it up and down stairs or into tight spaces, that's something to consider. Also, the dust port is standard size, so if you're used to aftermarket dust collection setups, you might need an adapter. But those are minor quibbles compared to the frustration of a saw that doesn't perform. At the end of the day, the SawStop Jobsite Saw Pro isn't just another jobsite saw, it's the one that actually makes you feel like you made the right choice. It's not cheap, but it's not overpriced either. It's the kind of tool that pays for itself in time saved and cuts done right the first time. If you've ever regretted buying a cheap saw, this is the one to get. Check it out using the link in the description if you want to see the details for yourself.